Dee Dee Blanchard discovered that she was pregnant with Gypsy at the age of 24. At the time, Gypsy's father, Rod Blanchard, who was only 17 years old, decided to end their relationship. As a result, Dee found herself raising her young daughter as a single mother. To manage her responsibilities, she relied on the support of her parents, who also lived with them. Originally, Dee moved in with her parents to assist her ailing stepmother. However, after encountering some legal troubles due to minor arrests for financial fraud, she ended up staying with them longer than initially planned. Despite the difficulties, Dee's care and love for Gypsy remained constant and unwavering. When Gypsy was around 8 years old, she fell off her grandmother's motorcycle and hurt her knee. Unfortunately, this incident marked the onset of a harrowing journey for Gypsy's health. As time passed, her health took a drastic turn, leading to her eventual confinement to a wheelchair, complete hair and teeth loss, removal of salivary glands, and the necessity of a feeding tube. Faced with doubts from her parents regarding Gypsy's condition, Dee found it necessary to move herself and her daughter out of their home. They lived off disability checks and child support, which were barely enough to sustain them in a rundown apartment in New Orleans. However, life took an even more drastic turn when Hurricane Katrina struck in 2005, forcing them to relocate to Missouri. By this time, Gypsy was undergoing treatment for a range of health issues, including an undiagnosed chromosomal disorder, muscular dystrophy, hearing and vision problems, epilepsy, and leukemia. Witnessing their remarkable spirit and unbreakable bond amid these challenges, numerous organizations and specialists were drawn to lend their support to Gypsy. Among them was a pediatric neurologist by the name of Bernardo Flasterstein, who offered his services. During an appointment with Dee and Gypsy, Dr. Bernardo made an intriguing discovery. While reviewing Gypsy's charts, there appeared to be no identifiable medical reason for her inability to walk. Dee explained that all of Gypsy's medical records had been lost in the hurricane. Determined to uncover the truth, Bernardo reached out to some of Gypsy's former doctors in New Orleans, who still had the records intact. They were astonished to find out that Gypsy was actually a perfectly healthy child, with only a minor issue of a lazy eye. Outraged by the accusation, Dee took decisive action and relocated her health care from their home in Springfield to a distant location in Kansas City. However, as events unfolded, it was revealed that it was Dee herself who was unwell. She was suspected of suffering from Munchausen's by proxy, a behavioral disorder where a caregiver seeks attention by exaggerating or causing illness to their child. In 2010, Gypsy knocked on her neighbor's door, urgently requiring assistance to get to the hospital. She had started to doubt her mother's claims about her health, realizing that she could eat normally and walk, despite being told otherwise. When they arrived at the hospital, Gypsy provided documentation confirming her birth date as July 1, 1991, which meant she was 19 years old. Shortly thereafter, Dee located Gypsy at the hospital and presented the doctors with a manipulated birth certificate which falsely indicated that Gypsy was just 14 years old. This allowed her to legally take Gypsy back home, effectively thwarting her attempted escape. By falsifying Gypsy's age, she ensured that government assistance would persist, as much of the financial support would have been discontinued once Gypsy reached adulthood. After Dee brought Gypsy back home, she resorted to extreme measures by chaining her to the bed. In a fit of rage, she destroyed Gypsy's laptop and phone with a hammer and warned that she would hurt her hands if she ever tried to run away again. The level of control Dee exerted over Gypsy also started to escalate physically. At times, she would withhold food from Gypsy for a day or two, and even resort to beating her with a coat hanger. After a relentless 2-year search for an escape from Dee's control, Gypsy finally encountered 23-year-old Nicholas in 2012. The two became each other's confidants, and Nicholas encouraged Gypsy to report her mother. Due to her fear of the potential consequences, Gypsy had never dared to defy her mother's wishes. Whenever Gypsy expressed herself, Dee would tightly grip her hand, using it as a signal of disapproval. Throughout their visits to the doctors, Dee continually clung to Gypsy's hand, making her feel trapped and restricted. For 2.5 years, Nicholas and Gypsy maintained secret contact through Facebook Messenger. Eventually, they devised a discreet plan to arrange their fateful in-person meeting. In 2015, Nicholas pretended to be a stranger and sat beside Gypsy and her mother during a screening of Cinderella. Seizing the opportunity, the couple slipped away from the theater and engaged in sexual activity in the men's bathroom. Aware of the severe repercussions that would follow if Gypsy tried to escape, they decided to go with Plan B, killing her mother. In June 2015, while Dee was asleep, Gypsy allowed Nicholas into their home. She gave him latex gloves and a knife, then retreated to the bathroom while he fatally stabbed her mother. Nicholas initially considered raping Dee, but Gypsy managed to convince him otherwise. After the horrific act, the two stole $4,000 and escaped to Wisconsin, where Nicholas lived with his parents. A couple of days later, Gypsy began to worry that no one would find her mother's body. As a result, she convinced Nicholas to post 2 messages on Facebook to anonymously alert the authorities. After finding the body, the authorities initiated a search for Gypsy. They were anticipating to find a mentally challenged, but were taken aback when they discovered Gypsy eating, walking, and fully independent. Nicholas received a life sentence for first-degree murder, while Gypsy was convicted of second-degree murder. She was given a 10-year prison sentence due to the abuse she endured and was released on December 28, 2023.